see. It actually, there was 2 weeks ago it didn't work. Last couple weeks it's worked, so we'll see. But if anyone wants to zoom in, like I said, I'll probably let you know and then see how you feel about it. So anyway, I think we're live now. This is kind of a preliminary discussion with KT Curran. Should I say Curran or Curran? Because I want to say
Curran. That's correct. Curran.
it's current to say Curran, and we're not quite starting yet, but we're going to let our Facebook viewers know that they can log in now. I'm going to send a couple little email, or not emails. I'm going to post on our page here and let everyone know. I know people can see it now, so I'm just going to let them know. Join us now for some TGIM with KT Curran, and I'm going to let them know how they can tune in and how they can get involved. So I'm just going to type that now, and so people can kind of see it. All right, and here's the. If you want a video in, I'm going to let them know about that as well. All right. Well, KT, before we get started, we can just shoot the breeze a little bit. Where are you coming to us from, by the way?
This is my office.
Okay, and you're in. Can you say where you're sheltered down?
Siesta Key.
Siesta Key. Oh, that's a beautiful place to
I
be
know.
in.
I was thinking. I feel very grateful to be on Siesta Key and the weather. Can you believe the weather what it's been like? No,
I can't. I tell you what, it's one of those moments where you gotta kind of love being a Floridian. I mean, it's certainly these cold places where they're having to go, these dense cold places.
I know.
It's kind of nuts.
We're also traumatized, but to walk outside and see the birds and the fresh air and the water so clear and clean, you're grateful for all these things that we kind of took for granted. So.
Oh, I know. We look out our window and we'll see Muscovy ducks. So these Muscovy ducks have laid eggs in our front yard, and so it's kind of cool. Being from home, I can kind of peek my head out there, and little mama duck is sitting out there on her eggs, and it's like, wow, this is pretty great. So Siesta Key. So have you gone to the beach yet?
No, I have. I've driven along the beach to see the traffic and things like that, but I haven't felt in a big hurry. I've been getting a lot of work done at home, a lot of writing and thinking and cleaning and sorting, that kind of thing. So.
Well, it looks like you've got. You can kind of judge a person by how many shelves they have.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to count how many shelves you have. Just in there, I see at least 4. Okay, well, I'm gonna play our intro because it's about 2 minutes, so we'll start right around 7. So, give me a second. I'm gonna share this screen, and then we'll be back with KT. Just in 1 second. Okay, so hold tight.
The weekend's gone and it's not the same, 'cause Monday's off, so damn Monday. Wish I had something to do tonight. Well, what once felt wrong now feels so right. Watching indie films on a Monday night with my friends while I intellectualize. Thank God that it's Monday. Thank God that it's Monday. Thank God that it's Monday, yeah. Thank God that it's Monday. Will I love it? Will I hate it? Will I watch it and debate it? Those critics with their movie eyes. Will they make me laugh and they make me cry? Some so bad that I wanna die, but instead I pass the mic and I intellectualize. Thank God that it's Monday. Thank God that it's Monday. Thank God that it's Monday, yeah. Thank God that it's Monday.
All right. Welcome to TGIM. Our special guest, KT Curran, coming to us live from Siesta Keys. She is a director. She was most recently known, we know her to be a director of a film that played in the 2019 Fort Myers Film Festival. That film festival is right here in Fort Myers. She's worked extensively in theater, nationally published playwright, and equity actor. We really do appreciate having her with us here tonight. That says here, 11 of KT's plays have been published nationally and internationally. You've written 25 plays, live films, a web series, commercials, several documentaries for young adults. 11 of your plays are nationally published. Your first directing and screenwriting credits include Surviving Lunch, which we saw here at the Fort Myers Film Festival, and also The First Time Club, which you can see right now on Amazon Prime. Please welcome with me, KT Curran. Welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. I loved watching that intro. It brought back so many wonderful memories of the Fort Myers Film Festival.
Well, thank you. It sure does. And it kind of reminds you when people could all actually hang out, you know, and have a little fun. We couldn't have done that thing. But nowadays we're happy to come live.
Yeah. Remember we all went out for sushi and we're talking films, and it was terrific. And that beautiful setting of your festival and Tom's amazing photos. I just have so many great memories of that festival. So.
Well, we're glad to have you, and that might be a good place to pick up. You know, I'm curious what you've been watching, but I'm a little more curious. Your film Surviving Lunch, we played it probably second in the world. It's a very smartly written, produced, directed, and acted. It won awards here at Fort Myers Film Festival, and then it went on to go to a bunch of other film festivals. Am I right? Can you tell us about, once you left Fort Myers, where you went to after that?
Yes, it was a good, I'm glad it wasn't this year, because I actually traveled for the entire year with film festivals. We went 4 or 5 times to Los Angeles, had quite a lot of festivals out there, and New York City and Pennsylvania and Arizona and Toronto and just everywhere, just constantly on the go with it. And also Orlando Film Festival, and we took it to the House and Senate in Tallahassee for a command performance there. So it was a really exciting year with our film.
What was that like? Tell us about audience. I feel like I'm interrupting at a time frame where you hopefully are hearing me. But tell us a little bit about the Tallahassee experience. What was that like? How did you get invited? What was the reaction? Is there anything else that kind of happened with the film after you're showing it at Tallahassee?
Well, Margaret Good, who is in our House of Representatives, saw the film in Sarasota and invited us. She said, we have to show this to the House and Senate, and brought us up there. And we screened it at a kind of a, what do you call it? Those big ArcLight type movie theaters that are surround sound. And I mean, it was like, you were literally in the movie. It was amazing to watch it. It was like on top of us, and you felt like you were being beaten up with the characters. And so, and then afterwards, there were people there from the Department of Education and a lot of folks wanting performance screenings. And this was all kind of very new, and as of late December. And so then as we kind of got into the pandemic, things have kind of stopped for a while. So.
And it's interesting because and also some may want to tune in and talk about what films they're watching, and we encourage that. A little bit indifferent than TGIM, where we look at films in consideration, but we've already selected our films. The festival, which is currently postponed, for that exact reason. We're going to look at dates as we work with our venues. But one thing that a lot of people ask after they come to the Fort Myers Film Festival, and with your film especially too, is when it comes to distribution, they want to see this film. No pressure. I don't know how people can film now, Surviving Lunch, but how can one see the film Surviving Lunch that you did, as it's such a powerful film and it's so relevant in these times?
Thank you so much for asking. What happened was a producer in Los Angeles really loved the film from a company called Be Brave Media. And she was wanting to take the film and work with us as far as distribution. And it kind of got held up because we have a 3-month contract with Be Brave Media for distribution, and we weren't allowed to really show it online or in anywhere until that. And then this pandemic hit. And so now I'm in the place where I just want people to see the movie. So I think even though time stopped, I think I'm wanting to pursue distribution. We're probably going to be premiering on Amazon Prime sometime very soon, because we also work with them quite a lot. We have another film there,
Sure.
as you said. And I think that's the route we're going to go, because things are just kind of at a halt as far as things like Lifetime or Netflix. They're not taking new films right at the moment.
Absolutely. And so when that happens, when and if that happens, or wherever it ends up on streaming, be sure to let us know, because we're interested in sharing it and screening it. One thing that you can find online is the streaming column that I do. And we know one thing that I've observed is a lot of theatrical releases have been pushed back, and there's a lot of theatrical releases who have gone straight to streaming. So it's interesting to see how distribution companies are now finding their way into whether or not they should be distributed online immediately through different distributors or not. So I don't know if I'd advise you, but offline here, maybe we should talk a little bit, because they're also looking for content. Of course, you have Netflix, you've got Amazon Prime, which is a good way to go. You've got HBO Max coming out now. There's so many different distribution companies that are like, well, where can we get fresh content?
Yes, I know we spoke briefly back in, I think, early December. So I'd love to talk to you more offline about that and get your advice, because like I say, things have changed. Literally, things were changing. I made a short video, and in the morning it was one, it got dated as the day went on. That's how quickly our country has changed. And so I think we have to look at new paradigms, as you say, like new avenues for distribution. I know in the film festival world, I'm getting a lot of requests for festivals. And what do you think about online festivals as opposed to in-person festivals?
Well, it's been an interesting dynamic, and we also have yet to roll out our online possibilities. But on the one hand, it's good because films are now getting to more people quicker. For a filmmaker, you're dealing with a different dynamic, though, because you're not getting quite the pop that you wanted at some of these film festivals. I know Pete Davidson's new film that's coming out, something Staten Island, was supposed to, I think, start out at either South by Southwest or Tribeca, I forget, the King of Staten Island or something like that. And it simply didn't make sense for them to go right to distribution. So it's kind of a two-edged sword. It depends on who you ask. It's certainly more complicated. I know a lot of films are also looking at video on demand. So video on demand is certainly a possibility. And more are finding that they're making actually money from this video on demand. Some of these screeners that are coming out, they're not renting right away, they're selling. So the film festivals have legitimately been a place for people to kick off and get a conversation started and get a buzz going around films. A lot of times, for them, being able to screen something online makes sense. Now, some are charging and some aren't. So I'm a little mixed about it. I think it's good overall, but also we see an evolution of what is become the new normal when it comes to our film intake. We're not going to theaters right now. So that extra $20, $30 that we may have that we were going to go to the movies theater, will we spend it to watch something that's fresh coming out, be it during a film festival website or during a distribution company's website. And I think it's just a matter of things are changing. I know right now I'm totally fine if a brand new film comes out and it wants, instead of go to the theater, come straight to my video screener, especially if I'm already paying for the subscription. But certainly if it's instead of paying for 3 tickets for $12, instead of $36, I'm spending 15 or 12 or 19. I don't know. It's one of those things where you could go. How do you feel about it, KT?
Well, I love going to festivals, like I said, being at the Fort Myers Film Festival, the Sarasota Film Festival, being out at those festivals in LA, there's such a buzz, such an energy. It's so exciting to see your film in a big theater and the way the audience responds. But I also am one of those people that's really enjoying watching content in the safety of my home right now. So, I think things are changing and we don't know how long it's going to last. Nobody really knows the future. So even as a filmmaker, I was starting to plan a new film. And now as the world has changed, as an artist, I'm really thinking about what kind of stories do we want to see right now? What are we interested in? What are we not wanting to hear anything about the pandemic? Do we want to see stories that have people not social distancing, or do we want to see the pandemic reflected in our storytelling? And I'm just kind of trying to make sense of all that as I move forward as a filmmaker.
Good point. On the one hand, I feel like there's so many ways I can take this conversation because you were so bright, so brilliant. And I want to know a little bit about, I kind of want to first ask about what film you're thinking of doing, but maybe before that, just because I'm most curious, what are you watching? What is on your list and what are you enjoying right now? What are you screening?
Well, it's interesting. My daughter, who lives in Los Angeles, has just written her first feature. And I was very involved with just reading drafts and got very interested. Oh, cheers. I got very interested in, it's about life in Havana. And so I've been watching a lot of things about Latin culture and about Havana and things like that, just immersing in her project right now. And I'm also, I just watched a film, I'm watching a lot of series. I just watched Outer Banks. I don't know if you saw it, but I was very interested in it because it's about young people and it's set in the Outer Banks, primarily on the water. And I've been always very interested, being a Floridian, in telling stories that reflect our environment. And so I was very interested in watching how they filmed on boats and in the water and, just the light. And it was also, I liked the way it was filmed. It was very raw, very real in a way that I like to film, with a lot of handheld camera, and there was bullying reflected in them. I recommend it. I thought it was quite well done. Outer Banks.
Outer Banks. Are you the type to, where do I stream that, by the way?
Netflix.
I'm curious, because everyone our streaming intake is so different now. Back in the day, and I say this because we're both of a similar age, we used to be able to only watch our shows if we sat down in front of the television at a very specific time. So your show was on Tuesdays at 7 or Thursdays at 7.
Yes.
Now it's all on us. We can watch it whenever we want to. But I'm curious, are you the type to stream a little, come back? Are you a stream straight through type of gal?
I usually will watch at least 2. And if it's a thing where they always leave you hanging, bless you. You doing okay there?
I'm coughing. I'm gonna have to get tested.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the Rona.
I know. I know. And we're also in allergy season, which is so great. If they wanted to completely mess with our heads, have this happen in allergy season, So.
Well, it is, and his restaurant's open now. Go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah. The series that I think is positively brilliant that I just finished is My Brilliant Friend. And it is an Italian series, and every episode is a work of art. The composition, the storytelling, it is beautiful, and it is really an exploration of female friendship. And I highly recommend it. If subtitles don't bother you, like some people are very afraid of subtitles. I don't even notice them really. And it's in Italian with subtitles, but it's positively brilliant. So.
Very cool. Very cool. We have some questions here. We've got some people that are waiting lists that are looking to get online to maybe ask some video questions. If you're okay with that, we'll see who's waiting.
Absolutely.
Want to give it a shot? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see what. Let's see if we got Bill Voss here who is wanting to join. Let's see if he's around. Bill, are you there? Okay, we got Bill. He's there. I think he's watching, but he's not. May not be participating. So let me see if I can. Let me put him back in the waiting room. Okay, back to us. Sorry. So here's my question. Are you the type to like? So you find something and then you're staying up now past your bedtime because you're so excited about watching it, or do you have the discipline to say I'm going to watch one today, one tomorrow, or do you just look up and it's already daylight?
If it's something that I really love, you know, I have a habit of totally immersing myself. And so like just the same when I'm making a film, I could stay up all night editing. It's the same way when I discover a really wonderful series. I really have to discipline myself to turn it off.
Right.
But usually maybe 3, the most I'll do is 4 episodes, but you know, I try to not stay up all night.
Okay.
How about you? How about you?
I find myself setting parameters, and those parameters are usually up until a certain time. And if I get past that time, it's got to be really good for me to go on because I'm early to bed, early to rise. You know, healthy, wise. 2 of the 3 anyway. So you know, on your film, there was such a cast and crew, and there was a lot of young and up and comers. I'm curious as to how they're doing. If you have any reports, is everything you're hearing from them? Are they getting gigs? Are they getting buzz from this film? What are the things should be watching for from your crew? And then I have not forgotten back to the film that you want to do next, because if you can tell us here live on TGIM for Marcel Festival, I'd love to break that as to what your next project is, or speak to any of those as you wish.
Well, the cast was all doing super great until the pandemic. And then I think everyone has just kind of holed up, everybody from the top actors in Hollywood to all our actors here associated with Surviving Lunch. I know, like, for example, several of our actors won Best Actor awards in Beverly Hills when we were at the Lady Filmmakers Film Festival. Cooper, who played the young boy who's bullied, won Best Youth Actor. And Avery was nominated for Best Actress, and Chessie won Best Actress. It was just really exciting to see how they were recognized out in Hollywood. And several of them were able to come out to LA and walk the red carpet and get their awards. And I know that they are doing really, really well, but now kind of holed up with their families as we sort of see what the next phase of opening up our country is going to be.
True. Okay,
you know,
tell us a little bit about your, go ahead, the film that filmmakers, go whatever direction you want, but I think you were going to tell us about filmmaking in general, or the film you're working on.
Filmmaking in general has shut down. You know, all the series that were being made, all the movies that were being shot, and they're really rethinking how are we going to make films, because as you know, it's very difficult to be socially distant when you're filmmaking. First of all, with the actors, you know, they're very, very close, and you film them pretty close together, and there's lots of physical contact in a movie usually. And then with the crew, you're always helping each other. That's the joy of making a movie. Everyone's working together to make it work. You see any picture of a set, everyone's glued together watching the frame. And so everything is being rethought. How do we separate the different departments? How much can we separate? Even something as simple as craft services, where all the actors and crew go to eat during a long day of filming, that has to be completely rethought. And they're looking at giving people little boxes of food. So it's not going to be a big table of food that people graze on throughout the day. And, you know, lots of hand washing stations, keeping the amount of people on set, how many people can be there at one time. All of that is being looked at very, very closely. And the films that are going to be green lighted moving forward are going to be the smaller films, not the films like Surviving Lunch that had 250 kids in it, you know, fighting and interacting. I wouldn't be able to make Surviving Lunch right now, unfortunately. And so I feel very grateful that we got the film made before this terrible time in our history happened.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think a little bit about the type of scenarios that would work best. I think back to animated movies like Happy Feet, for example, where it's one guy in front of a green screen, or Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Certainly if you're doing animated features, probably you're doing well, but it's going to be hard to get at least an A-list celebrity on set. I think maybe some B-list celebrities who might take a risk with a smaller production, but it certainly is changing the face of what, you know, Hollywood has to offer in the future. It's going to be interesting to see what set of standards and how seriously they take their commitment to safety on set. And I'm also looking at months down the road. You know, we're still seeing streaming stuff coming that's new. In 4 or 5 months, what is that stream going to look like? Yes. If anything, are we looking at all just animation, all documentaries? Well. Are we going to just have to kind of recircle and find old films? You know, I don't know. But can you tell us about what you have in your sights once this does, once we come out on the other end of this?
Well, it's funny because my plan before this happened, I was making a new kind of like a modern day Big Chill about a group of young adults on this very intense weekend that all come together to help a missing friend who's disappeared. And as they search for her, they relive, they go back to their high school years in their mind, and they try to figure out why their lives have kind of become derailed. Because I was seeing a lot of millennials kind of lost. They had so many choices that they were almost stuck or paralyzed about how to move forward. But now with the pandemic, I think everything has changed. And so I don't know if a story like that, we're all being very, very present right now. We're all rethinking who we are and what we want and what matters. We're all kind of pulling in. Our bubbles have gotten much smaller. We're realizing the importance of family, of being with the people that we love, and of life and death. And so I started thinking of a new story called 6 Feet Apart, about two people that fall in love during a pandemic, and they have to stay 6 feet apart. And how do they connect? How do they learn about each other? What do they do with their passion and their physicality as they're falling in love during this pandemic? And these kinds of stories are interesting me now. And so I'm not, to tell you the truth, I'm not exactly sure what my next film is going to be. It's kind of just, there's a lot of stories mulling around in my notebook.
Well, I got to say, I would love to see that script. That's crossed my mind. You know, at some point, you certainly during the pandemic, not taking anything for granted, right? Like life is really hard right now for so many, and so at whatever level we're at, we still find some emotion of gratitude. But my heart does go out to those who
Yes.
don't have kind of that quarantine, somebody that they're with, and I can't even imagine dating right now. How would you date? I don't know. Are you throwing all caution to the wind? Are you Zoom dating only, or are you walking on the beaches of Siesta Key, Fort Myers Beach, and having a very casual date? Or I don't know. Tell me, KT, how are these people
Yeah.
dating? How are you getting into somebody during
I
this?
think
don't
that I think at first people were really afraid, and now a lot of the people across the country are getting a little antsy. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think if we have another big wave of infections, then people will pull back again, and we'll see. If you know someone who's been infected or who has, God forbid, died from coronavirus, then you have a totally different way that you look at the virus than if you're young and strong and healthy and, filled with energy and feeling kind of stuck at home. And so, and certainly our disadvantaged populations, our homeless populations, people who, like you say, have lost their jobs or don't have a safe home to quarantine in. All these stories really interest me right now. And it's all new. We're all figuring it out together,
Totally. All right. So let's say you have to pick your top 3 films of all time or top film of all time, your go-to that you could watch at any time. Can you talk about that?
Well, it's so funny because as a young person, I loved the film, which I just saw I saw it on Amazon the other day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I love that movie. It inspired me, these 2 bandits, so as a kid, it was the first movie that just sort of ignited my excitement of the big bad world out there. As an adult, there's so many wonderful films. I love the French film Camille Claudel, which is about an artist. I like a lot of films about artists finding their muse and being brave enough to pursue their craft. Like I love the film The Piano, which I think is a wonderful film. I don't know. What about you?
Oh, I feel like this is more about you, but I've got my go-tos. I found myself always watching Serendipity, When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally, Take Me Out to the Ball Game is an old film that with Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, and Burn After Reading. Anything with Malkovich in it, or John Cusack, or Harrison Ford. I watch all the Star Wars. I could go on, but it's nice to hear your point of view and perspective. Anything else you want to say? We have usually about a half an hour that we've been talking, and we're almost out of time. So I want to yield to you for maybe a final remark. Thank you for joining us so much.
Well, I have to thank you because it is such a joy to not be thinking about coronavirus and to be sitting here talking about films and remembering, what I do and who I am, and that there's going to be a future after this where we're out there making movies again and going to film festivals and talking about our art and using our art to inspire the world. And I want to thank you and the Fort Myers Film Festival, and certainly Tom Hall, who is such a great asset as a photographer, and all the wonderful support he gives to artists along with you. It really means a lot, and it's what keeps us going at a time like this, remembering who we are and what we do and why we're doing it. So thank you.
Well, thank you, KT, and we love you, and we love the film that you brought here. We look forward to what you're coming up with next, and anything we can promote as to when Surviving Lunch actually gets onto a video platform. We'd love to bring it to the attention of everyone. They say it's been the longest run since any sort of school shooting. And I don't know how long. I hate to bring that up here at the end because we're going to want to talk more, but it's kind of a sad remark that
that's
now
the
with
whole thing. It really is. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I was thinking when we release it, I'm thinking more towards when schools start up again, that around that time. We've had a lot of requests during the virus, and I didn't want to bring it. It is a heavy film, and I thought, let's let the kids settle, and maybe we'll bring back Surviving Lunch and release it as school starts up again. So to remind everybody about the importance of being kind, because I do see an increase of bad behavior as people get more anxious. And I don't know if you saw the story about the donut shop or the ice cream shop that opened yesterday, and a 17-year-old girl was serving ice cream, and people were in such a hurry to get their ice cream, they started calling her horrible names, cussing her out. And the owner of the shop closed his shop. He said, how could you talk to this 7-year-old girl like this? And it had a happy ending. The news picked it up, and the entire town said, we're so sorry. How can we support you? Please don't close. We'll follow the rules. And I think we all have to remember to be kind, which is the message of Surviving Lunch. You know, be patient, be kind, take a deep breath. We'll get through this. And as tense as we all are, as we deal with the virus, it's really important to be kind to each other and listen to each other and be patient.
Absolutely. What a fantastic note to end on, to be kind. We have a lot of people saying thanks, KT, from Patty, Marnie, we got Lane, Justin, Bob, Jim. Thank you guys all for tuning in here on Facebook Live. And for those of you who aren't watching us live, hello, stay safe out there. Thank you for supporting the Fort Myers Film Festival. Be sure to always pay attention to KT Curran. Is there a way to follow you or someplace we should be checking up on you for those who want to follow what's going on that you could tell us about?
You can follow Surviving Lunch on Facebook and Surviving Lunch the movie on Facebook, and we'll always be posting lots of updates there. So thank you for asking, and I'll be certain to let you know as well.
Well, much love to you, KT. It's always making me so happy to see you. I mean that. I love you and love what you're doing, and we're around. And so once this thing opens up, we'll get you back to Fort Myers, and much love to your family.
Right.
Stay safe
Wonderful.
out there. So we're going to end
Stay
the meeting.
well.
Thank you guys for all tuning in.
All right. Thank
and yours
you.
as well.
Bye.
Next week, tune in. We're gonna have State Representative Heather Fitzenhagen, and we'll be here every Monday for TGIM, talking films, talking to the community about what they're watching, and staying in touch with each other. Love you guys. Stay safe from the Fort Myers Film Festival.